Hi, my name's Kathy Millett and this week we're looking at snow powders and snow flocks. So what's the difference between a snow powder and a snow flock? Well, flock is made from little, it's like static grass, it's made from little fibres. And this is WWS and they have a 2mm. They also have a 1mm snow scatter. And in my head, this looks far more realistic because you don't see the little lines when we use this stuff for grass. So to me, little spiky bits in my snow seems wrong in my head. Powders, on the other hand, are powdery. So they have a nice fine powder. And people say to me, well, all the products are really expensive. So I've got baking powder, gluten-free, you'll be glad to know, and some glass Frit. Now this was £1.62 for this pack, which actually goes quite a long way. It's just powdered glass. Just to show you that you can use some products other than just snow and ice and see what they come out like. And the final product we've got this week is Flake Snow by Woodland Phoenix. It's a very bright white, but it's got a larger grain size. It's less of a powder and more of a flake. So let's see how they come out this week. And these are some of the dioramas that we're going to make. So I'm going to start off with this O-scale diorama and WWS. And they have two glues that I use for doing scenic grass, and they advise you use the same glues for snow. So they're basing glue and layering spray. And you can get this as a pump action bottle in the US now. I know people have had problems in the past. And they have two lengths, 2mm snow and 1mm snow scatter. And you put them on with your normal applicator. And to start, you use basing glue, which you can apply with a brush. So I'm going to use this on my sort of muddy areas, I guess is the word, and I'm just going to squidge it on. It's quite thin, so I have been known to splurge this everywhere, so I'm just going to put a little bit on and then use my brush to spread it around. And is there a value? A lot of these companies all have separate static grass glues, and I know some people go, oh, you don't need it. There's no value to them. Is there a value to a separate glue? Well, talking to the people in the know, the white glue sticks up quicker. It's very much a skin then dry type of glue, whereas these glues stay tacky for longer. So when you're putting grass on and you're faffing around and you're busy doing stuff, it gives you more chance to get it on there before the glue actually becomes non-sticky, if that makes sense. So there's my glue. I'm going to fill my scatter up with just a little bit of white. Not going to need a huge amount. Put that on and let's see how it goes. There we go. Actually, it forms around the bottom in that grass. It fills in a white layer around the bottom there quite nicely. So I'm just going to keep putting it over there. Now I haven't got any glue there, but it will get glued in a sec. Right, so you can knock this off if you want, or hoover it up and reclaim it. I'm just going to give it a gentle tap because actually the next layer will also stick it down. It just looked a bit caked on that side. So there we go, that's the first coat. This is where WWS have a really nice adhesive, and I know people have struggled to get it abroad in the US, but it works really well on grass. So you can see the longer grass has kind of gone in the bottom at the moment and is acting as a base layer. It's making all this nice and white. I'm going to try and recreate the precision ice and snow technique and do it from an angle, so hopefully this will stick to one side. Apply snow. Ooh, yeah. If it comes out too fast, just don't turn it completely upside down, you know. Tell you what I am going to do. I'm just going to put a little bit more on this side, so it just builds that up a bit. So you'll see this is one coat and this will be nearer two if I can get that to work. There we go. Slightly more gently controlled dumping. I think I'm just going to give them everything another coat. Well, I'm going to do the same for Woodland Phoenix Soft Flake Snow. It's more of a powder. A lot of people swear by it. And I'm intrigued to see the difference between a powder and a flock. So to make sure it's all about the product rather than about the glue, I'm going to use the same glues. Now, as before, I'm going to leave the foliage to all be covered by the layering spray, and I'm just going to use this on the hard surfaces. So this comes in with a shaker in the top. Not entirely sure that it's thin enough. I'm going to see if it'll shake out the Precision Snow and Ice one. Yeah, it will. So I'm going to use that. It's just a finer applicator. I've got to say, this is almost salty. Wow, it's quite coarse by comparison to what I was expecting. Okay, so I put one layer on with the basing spray, sort of a heavy, crunchy snow and ice effect. So I put 3 layers on the last one, or 2 or 3. I had 2 on one side, 3 on the other. So let's just give this a nice even sort of spray. Make sure I get this side a bit more. So people say to me, gosh, these snow products are really expensive. You know, they're made specially, they cost a lot of money. So I thought I'd try 2 that you can get off eBay or out your kitchen. So I'm going to do half of this with baking powder and half with something called glass Frit, which is basically a powdered glass. I'm not sure about the baking powder. I'm not sure if it will dissolve. So we've got the basing glue on as before, and I'm just going to put it on and see what happens. I have a funny feeling it will largely dissolve, but hey, we'll just put it on and see. Okay, and there we go. Now I'm going to tip it off. It certainly tastes like baking powder. Shows how much ends up in the air, doesn't it, when you can taste it. And then I'm going to do the other side with glass Frit, which is just powdered glass. And I'm going to sprinkle it on through the same sieve and see how it goes. Now this was £1.62 for this small packet. So obviously, oops, I need my little divider. Sprinkle on the wrong side. Everybody arriving to take me out for lunch if you can hear noise in the background. So there we go. Just give this a bit of a sprinkle. And the advantage of glass, I keep saying that wrong, is it's inert. So this isn't going to cause me any problems. There we go. So this is dry. I'm going to put the next layering spray on. So this is the final result. We've got the Woodland Phoenix Snow. Now, because it's got a larger grain size, you can see that. You really can. And there are some instances where that grain size will be perfect for what you want. For a sort of sat snow on the ground, I find the grain size just a little bit large. If I was looking at a heavy frost in a larger scale, I think this could be quite good. So I think it depends a lot on your scale, but I think in HO scale, I probably wouldn't use Woodland Phoenix Snow. This is the WWS Flock. And of all the ones we've used, it's the whitest and the fluffiest. With their layering system of basing glue and layering spray, you can get a really deep, snowy, fluffy effect. And that does look amazing. It might be a bit overdone on the wires on the fence, but you could easily sort that just with a little bit of the way you spray, masking it off a little bit and maybe adding the wires on later. Now these are the wild cards. It's the glass powder on this side and the baking soda on this side. Now actually the glass powder, I quite like. It's cheap, it was £1.62 for a bag. It's not particularly hard to put on, you just use the same products as I used on all of these. I'm really impressed, I'd use it again. The baking soda, well, my baking soda is 10 years old. Its best before is January 08. It's a little bit yellowed, but I've had people feed back to me when I mentioned I was using it that they've lived in high humidity countries and it hasn't worked. It just starts fizzing and it starts going off and it gets a bit yuck. So all I would say is I personally wouldn't use a food product, but a lot of people have put in the comments, why can't you just use baking soda? Flour. The answer is I probably wouldn't put something on here that I didn't know was inert. Glass is really inert, so if you're going to try something just cheap, I got my powdered glass off eBay, but it's a craft supply, so you can get it in a number of places. Otherwise, I think if we look back in the last few weeks, Precision Snow and Ice had that lovely powdery effect, and you could get a really good frost effect with their products. Knock had that fluffy snowflakes, but again, it's a flock, so you have to like those fibre, but they do have a sparkle. And then Deluxe Materials, micro balloons, they're just resin filler, but boy, do they go on well and look good. There we go. So, really pleased with the experiment. It's been fascinating to look at them and get out some of the ones that have been done a couple of weeks ago as well. And please write in the comments below what you think. Which are your favourite products? Which ones have you used? You know, if you built the Woodland Phoenix up with more and more layers, do you notice that grainy effect, or does it disappear? And in the meanwhile, can I just thank my patrons for supporting me? You know, buying all these products hasn't been cheap. I bought some of them years ago, but it's been a labour of love to get all this done. So thank you very much for your support, which has enabled me to do these particular videos. And I probably should disclose, WWS did give me their flock. All the rest of them I've bought. But there we go. Right, thanks guys.